The Camden County, Georgia Sheriff's Office released body and dash camera videos Wednesday of the traffic stop that ended in the fatal shooting of Leonard Cure. Dash cam footage from the deputy's vehicle shows a brief pursuit of Cure's speeding pickup truck before he pulled over.
Step out! Get out! Get out! Put your hands back here. I ain't doing Watch me now. Put your hands on the back of that truck. Either put your hands behind your back or you're getting tased. I'm telling you that right now.
Why am I getting tased?
Because you are under arrest for speeding and reckless driving.
I'm not driving. Nobody was hurt. How was I speeding?
You passed me doing 100 miles an hour.
Okay, so that's a speeding ticket, right?
Sir,
what? Am I going
hands behind your back. Yes, you are going to jail.
Cure refused to put his hands behind his back, and the argument quickly escalated into a physical confrontation after the deputy tased him.
Yep. Yep. Stay down! Stay down!
The confrontation ended with the deputy firing his weapon and fatally injuring Cure.
Camden, shots fired! Shots fired, Camden! Stay down! Do not get up! Stay down!
In April of 2020, Cure was exonerated and released from prison 16 years after being wrongfully convicted for armed robbery in Broward County, according to court documents.
Hey, you look at me. You ain't going nowhere.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation said it will conduct an independent investigation of Monday's shooting and turn its findings over to the Brunswick Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office for review.
All right. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. And this right here, this situation is an example of police escalating a situation that really didn't have to be escalated. Now, you saw the police stop a 53-year-old Leonard Cure in Camden County, Georgia, right by the Florida state line. Now, Mr. Cure, as you heard, had only been out of prison 3 years. This happened in October of 23, which is about a year and a half ago. He had only been out of prison 3 years because he was exonerated after spending 16 years in prison for a robbery that he didn't commit. And he had just bought a home, I'm pretty sure. He had filed a lawsuit and possibly have gotten some money for that. Now, granted, I do think that this is an incident where you can actually say that the deputy feared for his life because he didn't have a chance against my man. Honestly, you know, that man done spent 16 years in prison, and, you know, he had probably had to rumble a couple of times. And so while he had the police by the face, the police tried to tase him. You know, that didn't work. He ate that like cereal. When they were engaged, I think he pulled out the baton. He couldn't even get a swing off because my man had him in the bear grips. And, you know, the man, you know, he had him. He was bending him down. And that's when the officer pulled his gun and hit him twice. Now, granted, I still don't agree with that because the man didn't have a weapon. You know, he wasn't barreling down on the cop. You know, mind you, he might have put them things on the cop. You know what I'm saying? Might have gave him a black eye or two. But in that altercation right there, he was in no danger of taking the cop's life. And the reason why I say the cop escalated the situation, because Mr. Cure said, look, I'm speeding. Nobody was hurt. Why do I have to go to jail? And that narrative, you have to watch that narrative because they said it was a brief pursuit. Now, The police said he passed them going 100 miles per hour. Now, I've been in that situation. I was drunk one time at North Carolina Central going to Greensboro homecoming, bobbing to that red man in 1996, 97 Pathfinder, speeding through traffic. I come up on a police car. I'm going a buck. They see me in the rearview mirror. They start slowing down. I start slowing down. They start slowing down. I mean, literally, we were both going about 20 miles an hour until he finally was able to get behind me. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure that when he passed the cop got behind him, and that's why it looked like a brief pursuit, because he had to slow down, go all the way to the other side of the interstate, and then get out. Now, even before he got out, the cop, get out of the car. Get out of the car now. Why? It's a simple speeding ticket, right? When I got stopped like that, the cop, he came up to the car. He didn't ask me to get out, asked to see my license, and what have you. And so that's what I mean by the cop escalating the situation. Only thing he had to do was walk up to the car calmly. And once again, the brother had been in prison for 16 years for something he didn't do. Now, granted, if you've been in prison for 16 years, you already traumatized. You already got some sort of mental capacity that may not be right. Now, 16 years for something that you didn't do, you definitely got some disregard for authority, some rebelliousness. So this man gets out the car, and the officer says, "Put your hands behind your back." Now this man, once again, he got free. People been trying to tell him what to do for 16 years unjustly. So like, I ain't doing nothing. And so when he says that, the officer pulls out his taser. Now, once again, that's an escalation technique. Like, the guy wasn't threatening him. Why do you have to tase him just because he wouldn't put his hands behind his back? You don't have to pull out and threaten him. Nah, man. Look, let's talk like men. You're gonna give me a ticket? Give me a ticket. But here the officer says, walk to the back of the truck and put your hands on the back of the truck, which Mr. Cure did. He put his hands on the back of the truck. And then the police officer say, put your hands behind the back. You're going to jail. Now, mind you, a couple of years ago, I'm on the way to Virginia. Riding through, what's that? Right before you get to the border. What is that town, man, that got me that ticket? I can't even think of it right now. But I'm going a buck. Got my GPS on it. You on 95. Everybody goes a buck. But I go on a buck. I get stopped. There's no get out the car. The guy came and asked me, look, man, why you driving so fast? So I'm trying to get Virginia. My child's mother's in the hospital. Boom, that's it, right? He comes, gave me the ticket for what? Speeding and reckless driving, right? That is not a jailable offense. Now, if he would have said, okay, speeding to elude arrest, that maybe even failing to stop for blue lights, it's not technically an arrestable offense. And so I feel, because of my 30 years of non-licensed legal expertise, I feel that the officer did not have to say, put your hands behind your back, you're going to jail just for speeding. And once again, in my non-licensed expertise, Mr. Cure was right for, listen, I'm not going to jail. Give me your ticket. He never says that's a speeding ticket, right? No, you're going to jail. And that's, once again, the bravado of the police, the escalate, the failure to de-escalate a situation. They just said, all right, so let's calm down. I'm gonna give you a ticket, but I'm gonna have to, whatever, search the car. I'm gonna have to call some backup. But he continues to say, I'm going to tase you. Now, when he tased the man, and I always wonder why people do like that. What you saw him doing was getting the taser needles out of his arms. So, they won't deploy and send electricity through his body. And then, the confrontation ensued, and there you see the after effects. And so this recently came out a couple of days ago that that deputy will not be charged. And once again, while I feel that the deputy did not handle the situation correctly, this is one instance where I can kind of see. Now, don't kill me in the comments. I can kind of see where, the deputy, once again, he could have shot him in the leg. You know what I'm saying? And deputies are taught to hit center mass, and that's meaning they're taught to shoot to expire. So this situation is unfortunate because the brother was already, behind the 8 ball. He had already spent 16 years in prison for something he didn't do. So that's tragic in itself. And then 3 years later, he has this encounter with this deputy. And I think, okay, well, all police officers should learn how to fight because, he couldn't fight. So what most, and if you've been in the streets or if you've been, in prison or whatever, if somebody can't fight, what's the first thing they do? They pull out a weapon. They pull out a gun. They pull out a knife. They get ashamed, so they get the lock in the side, so because they can't fight. All police officers should be able to learn how to fight. So they don't necessarily have to pull their weapon unless it's absolutely necessary. Now, that man wasn't on top of him, wailing on him. That man didn't have him in a chokehold. That man simply had his face, pushing his head back. Like, bro, you can't handle me. And that's what it boils down to. The police officer couldn't handle him. And, like most police officers, I feel not. And if it don't apply to you, let it fly. But what I'm seeing is a bunch of scary, little ego, bullied in school, non-popular people who, when they put on that badge and that vest and that walkie-talkie and that taser and that gun on their hip, they're Superman. But without it, they'll be just as quiet as a church mouse in a bell tower during Sunday service. You can hear rat piss on cotton, as they say. So this is, the situations where you give those type of people power. And, when he stopped him, get out of the car. Once again, he may have felt disrespect for the brother. Okay, well, you didn't stop me. All right, it's automatic. You know what I'm saying? It's on site as the and I don't even like to use the term YNs, but as the YNs say, it's on site. So that's how we felt. Okay, this guy ain't stopping me. I'm pulling out my taser off gate. You know what I'm saying? Clearly the man was unarmed. He got out. You know what I'm saying? Tank top. You know what I'm saying? So rest in peace to my brother. But once again, since we know we are target practice, we are in an all-out war. We are prisoners of war. And I want my brothers to understand this. Whenever you are stopped by the police, you are a prisoner of war. That's what it's boiling down to. You are a prisoner of war, and you're at their mercy. And so if you're not willing to go all out, don't try to run, don't try to fight if you ain't willing to go all out. And you can take that however you like it. But, rest in peace to the brother. My condolences to the family. And, unfortunately, they have already ruled in Georgia that, that deputy won't face charges. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this seriously in the comments. So this is one, that I would love your opinion on because, this is a case unlike we've ever seen where, as soon as the guy gets out of the car, they say, gun, gun, gun. And, so in this case, it was a physical altercation. Although, like I said, you're going to see a video later where a white guy actually stabbed the police 6 times and they took him alive. And so once again, I do have to mention that as part of the fact that he didn't have to do what he did. But they're going to say justifiable force was reasonable because, my brother was aggressive. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. 919-587-7782. Peace and blessings.